The rise of Germany's neo-Nazis? Oh boy.
The immigrants are in Germany to make Germany an Islamic state.
In 2023, foreigners made up 15% of Germany's population, but accounted for 41% of all violent crime suspects, with 75% population, but accounted for 41% of all violent crime suspects, with 75% of the victims being Germans. As Germany is the third largest host of refugees, hosting over 2.5 million refugees, with almost half of all Germans believing refugees are no longer welcome, placing their hopes and their votes in the nationalist, anti-immigrant, far-right AfD party, causing them to win a regional election in the state of Thuringia, and to make history as the first far-right political party to win in Germany since the Nazis in World War II.
Man. Oh boy.
Germany.
They're fucking fascists.
Fascists?
Yeah.
Nazi-Schweine! Nazi-Schweine! Nazi-Schweine!
It became a beast, and we're not really able to stop it anymore. And people just think about it, how it all went when fascist Germany rose. Yeah, and I'm afraid that it will happen again.
As many Germans believe their national identity is being destroyed, their generosity exploited, their culture degraded, and their country no longer safe as they mass import economic migrants and refugees into their country, other Germans are fearful they're witnessing the rise of the Fourth Reich as AfD politicians were.
Now, who was it that said that this was probably going to happen? And who was it that got a lot of hate for saying that? Who was that again? Fuck. Who? Oh, God. Oh, man. Who knows?
Were caught meeting with neo-Nazi activists discussing their master plan to deport millions of migrants from their country, causing mass protests across Germany, calling for a complete ban of what is now Germany's second strongest party, labeling
it's not going to work. Like, you're not going to be able to convince people like I think an average logical person is going to clearly see the difference between racism and not wanting immigrants in the country that are not assimilating with the culture. And if you keep calling those people racist, I think that all you're doing is ensuring that they will eventually win, because it's just by definition not racism. So if you constantly try to use this emotionally charged word that has like such a massive history, especially in Germany, against these people to like shut them down, and it's not accurate, average people see that and they're like, you're lying. And I don't think people like being lied to and told that they have to, perpetuate the lie themselves.
Them and their supporters, neo-Nazis.
The AfD regularly rejects accusations of extremism, but the BBC has found clear links between significant party figures.
There's only one Islam, and this is what is dangerous for Europe, and it's not at all compatible to our values. Not at all.
I believe...
Sounds like that guy needs a 2-week vacation on Twitch.
All religions are same, and there should be, brotherhood.
Before I go to a protest organized by Pegida, an organization opposed to mass migration and the Islamization of the West, with a counter-protest organized by Antifa right next door, what does the liberal city of Berlin think about the migrants in Germany and the rise of the so-called...
By the way, a lot of this violent crime is not a result of Islam. How do you know that? Because in Dubai and Saudi Arabia, they don't have any of this shit. And they're completely Islamic. That's not the factor.
Far right. Where are you from?
I'm from India.
Came here for work?
It's the law. It's the law.
I'm a student.
Was it difficult to come to school here?
No, of course not.
Easy?
Yeah, so much.
Do you think Germany is letting too many immigrants in?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. It's that the people that are doing it are not being held accountable for doing bad things. It's that simple. Not the best example, because if they fuck up there, they get punished. Exactly. So it's clearly not that simple.
What are your thoughts on the AfD party?
Oh, this is very bad for the foreign people. Very, very bad.
Tell me your thoughts on that.
This is really, you feel that they are very racist and they are so radical. For Germany, it's not good. And this is
are they doing
so
the Nazi
racist
salute?
And they are so radical. For
wow. So they're all the way back in it.
Germany, it's not good.
Damn.
And this is so bad image for Germany.
I'm from Thuringia, so...
Okay, so that's where they won the election.
I think that people that get fixated on the idea of image are also really not looking at it in the right perspective. I don't think that you can really... And this is a problem that I think a lot of liberals have, is they have a fixation on, like, basically optics. And I think that the fixation on optics causes them to adopt positions and do things and say things that are very disingenuous or dishonest, or ask people to have positions that they believe are disingenuous or dishonest.
Yeah, that's right.
Were you happy that day or unhappy?
No, nobody in my friend circle or family circle was happy about it. And the rise of the populist parties is a big problem, not even in Thuringia, but the whole of Europe, I would say.
That's right. Too many immigrants here?
Yeah.
Do you think you're a hypocrite for thinking that?
No, I don't think so.
Are you the...
See, this is exactly what's happening. Like, this is exactly what happens with, you know, the people that are Hispanic here. This guy could have been born in Germany. His parents could have been from Germany. Maybe, you know, 3 generations ago, they probably didn't come from Germany. But now he is. Very interesting.
Exception?
No, I guess no.
I'm coming here from Tunisia for 30 years, and German, it's changed now, yes? They changed so they don't like foreign people, that, but on the same time, they need a worker. This is a big problem for maybe the government, because they accepting a lot of refugee, but the refugee, why? Because they have no language. But if you say 2 years, you stay here and you get money and you don't work, this is a big lose for the country.
I think yeah, of course, people don't want to pay for this shit. It's obvious. It's not even a question. Like, yeah, how do you think, like, you have people that are working all the time, and then you have these random fucks coming in from other places in the world, and you're giving them money? Of course people are going to be fucking mad about that. Duh. It's not fair. You're getting taxed and they're taking your money away and giving it to people that don't even come from your country? What the fuck? Yes. Obviously.
They are a little bit racist.
Why do you think the alt-right and the AfD is on the rise?
Migration. I think people getting Germans and so getting annoyed by migration.
It's a populist party. It's a party that just doesn't really have any politics or any real plans for Germany. That's my opinion.
I think that they do have a plan. I think that they have a plan. The solution? Yeah, some sort of solution.
At least, and they use not only scapegoats, it's just what populism does, just quick answers to complex questions.
According to Google, 14% of the population right now in Germany is immigrant population or of immigrant background.
I think it's higher.
Higher? Let's call it 14 or higher.
18%.
And roughly 40% of the crimes are committed by that 14%. Why do you think that is? And is that a reason for concern?
Well, that still leaves 60% of crime on nationals, right? So it's absolutely, if just by numbers, it's more local people, let's call it that. I mean, of course, it's a cause of concern, but I don't...
It's very disappointing to see people, and I want to say, see, look at this, guys. We have somebody else who doesn't understand statistics, and see, it's not just us here in America. You guys have this same fucking problem. I don't want to fucking hear about, oh, wow, Americans are so stupid. You guys have the same fucking problems that we do. See? You guys are doing the same fucking shit.
I think the cause of concern or the answer is shutting out immigrants.
They're a populist right-wing party that are trying to destroy our democracy.
Okay, tell me more.
Most importantly, I think they threaten to undermine the trust that people have in our democratic
I got to admire this guy's confidence. To have that hair and that hairline is almost as bad as mine, and he just doesn't give a fuck, man. Yeah.
Okay, tell me more.
Most importantly, I think they threaten to undermine the trust that people have in our democratic institutions, especially young people. I'm very concerned about that, especially with the recent studies done on like the Shell-Jugendstudie and stuff, where we see already the very negative effects that populism
Can
has had.
somebody explain this to me with Germany? My understanding is that supporting Nazis in Germany is effectively illegal. Is that true? And if that is true, how is it that people are able to gather, and it is, so it is, then how are they able to go and do Nazi salutes? Why don't they all get arrested? They do? They do get arrested. They weren't doing that? Well, I saw a video of them doing it. It wasn't the Nazi salute, it was two hands? Okay. Okay, so like, because they're like trying, okay, I see what's going on. Okay.
Their outlook on democracy and the
Got
future.
it.
Do you think Germany has an obligation to bring in refugees?
I think Germany has an obligation as any Western rich country.
What are your thoughts on
I don't think that any country has any obligation to bring in any refugee from anywhere. No, they don't.
immigration here in Germany?
I think it's less of a problem than we make it look sometimes. I think there are great opportunities in immigration, but I also think that we need to be careful in how we approach it because the topic is already so partially poisoned in public discourse.
Do you think immigrants have an obligation to build and uplift their own community rather than leaving and fleeing to countries like Germany, let's say?
That's an obligation for politics and politicians. Politics, of course, that's also something that I think nowadays it's being forgotten. Politics, they come from the people.
Where are you from?
I'm from Iran.
How do you like Germany?
I love it. I love Berlin, not the whole Germany.
Where have you been treated differently here in Germany?
In Rostock.
What was the experience?
They were like, "You're not welcome here. You're not one of us. Like, what are you doing here?" And then it made me go crazy because I found myself being aggressive, like around people, and I was like, "Hey, it's not me," but yeah, it changed me.
And does
I think this is what happens: is that you have the government that basically forces systems that make people racist. I think it's actually the government policy and the government systems that are making people more racist and more bigoted. That's what's happening.
Culture integrate well into Germany from what you've seen?
No, it's important to say it's because of German country.
German's fault?
Wait.
It's not
let me listen to this.
Me, but
Sorry.
yeah, it changed me.
And does Muslim culture integrate well into Germany from what you've seen?
No. It's important to say it's because of German country.
German's fault?
It's not a thing of fault, but it's. I think it's one of those things.
Does Germany have an obligation to change and modify themselves to accommodate them, or vice versa?
I would say neither. I think cultures, and we can see, for example, in the UK. The UK is a way more integrated or diverse culture.
I hear many people call them racist, and they're undermining democracy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so too, yeah.
Why do you think they're gaining popularity right now?
Because they provide easy solutions for difficult problems, but the solutions are not really that simple.
They might not be that simple, but I'm certain that they might actually be that final. And that's the reason why, like, the whole idea that these people don't have solutions, you are absolutely delusional if you think they don't have solutions. They 100% have solutions.
See, in Germany, we don't have so big problems. We are a rich country with many people, but for me, we come from South Germany. The world is okay.
Life is good.
The life is good, yeah.
At the end of the day, you go touch grass, smell the flowers, life is good. Germany, I see no fentanyl addicts, no trash cans on fire. The city is
not San Francisco, great.
Peaceful, let's be honest. There's not a fraction of the
that?
problems I've seen in major U.S. cities here in Germany.
Oh, God. That's not so good, huh?
But anything's possible. Before I go to Dresden,
Yeah.
I headed to Erfurt in the state of Thuringia, where the AfD won the state's elections after receiving 30.5% of the vote. Why are people in the state so supportive of the AfD? And are their feelings towards mass immigration much different than the more liberal international city of Berlin we just talked to? What does the public think here out in the city? Let's go talk.
All right.
Do you know about the AfD? Good or bad?
Bad.
Bad?
Yeah, he's against all the refugees.
Okay. Why did you guys come here to Germany?
We came here to live with all people, to look for safety and to have good life, but AfD is against all of this.
Of course.
What did you guys flee? The war?
I came because of the war in my country.
You guys have family here too?
No, they're trying to come also. Okay.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Like, here's the way I look at it, right? Like, I don't really fault the people for coming over. I fault the government for letting it happen. Because, like, if I was one of those people, if I was this guy, You bet your fucking ass I would be trying to get my ass to Germany as soon as I fucking could. It's the same thing like if I lived in Mexico or I was in Argentina or some shit, my goal would be get to fucking America. Absolutely. Of course that's what they're going to do. It's not a problem. Like, you can never fault people like this for acting in their own best interest and looking for a better life. But you can fault them, you can fault the government for letting that happen at the expense of the citizens. You can definitely fault them for that.
Happen for all the refugees will happen to us.
Okay,
Argentina's okay now? Oh, it's a new patch? Damn. So a number of countries over there are actually doing pretty. Okay, wow. Because everybody used to always use El Salvador as like the example of like a bad country, and like now, man, things are a lot different. Yeah, so maybe not Argentina. Okay.
Deported back home?
I don't know, maybe.
All right. Thank you for the sticker. Goodbye. Well, he gives a sticker.
What the fuck?
Protect trans kids and fight fascism.
I don't really want to
I would have never guessed
into that because it's a very complex discussion, and I think there are many factors playing into it, but I think it's not, the AfD is not the solution at all. It is anti-democratic.
Oh, where are you guys from?
India.
Morocco. India? Okay. How long have you guys been here in Germany?
2 months. 1 year.
1 year.
1 year. Why did you guys come here to Germany?
Actually, I'm doing an Ausbildung in here in Germany. A better future. I want to earn money. I want to take a new experience over here.
I'm here in Germany for my Ausbildung, and I'm here for making my future better.
What are your thoughts on their anti-immigrant sentiment?
We need them. My generation is not enough to fill all the work we can offer. So our population.
I think this is a bad idea to import a bunch of people to work for lower wages to fill these jobs, because I think that like the reality is that these jobs will probably be replaced at a pretty high rate with automation and technology. I think that we're already seeing that happening. And then after these jobs are replaced with automation and technology, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have this massive underclass of people that were there to just do this physical labor. And what are you going to do with them now?
Shrinks, and we will not be able to fill in a sufficient workforce.
What are your thoughts on AfD? Okay, you're smiling. Any thoughts?
I have no. I don't have any interest in this. I just live my life. I see like everything is normal here. Everything is convenient.
Just does not give a fuck. I can respect that. It's like, they can't throw me out, so I don't care.
Everyone are doing what they like, and I'm also enjoying it.
How would you rate Germany on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you guys happy here? Give me a number.
8.
How would you rate India?
According to Germany,
compared to Germany.
Compared to Germany, actually, I would rate it like 6.
Okay. Yeah. Statistics would say that 40% of the crime is being perpetrated by those of immigrant background. Is that a concerning problem to you, or is that overblown?
I think it's a problem with the segregation at hand. If I would have to flee my country out of actual fear of being and then put into basically camps and would not be allowed to work, perhaps I would also search for work, but not so much on the legal side of things. Yeah, but
so this is the issue, right? Is that at the end of the day, if the government of the country is bringing people into the country that are putting the people that are the citizens of the country at risk because of crime, if they're committing half of the violent crime, you're effectively putting your citizens at risk. Because if you're committing, so you think about it, right? Let's just logically think about this. If they're committing about half of the crime, that means that they have doubled the crime, naturally, right? And so if you're importing a group of people and allowing a group of people coming into the country that are doubling the rate of crime, is this really something that's in the best interest of the population? Let's be honest.
Assault, for instance, wouldn't fall under that category, right?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Do you think things like that are a cultural difference or no? Or just bad apples exist in every bunch, things happen?
Some things are cultural, but
it doesn't matter whether they're cultural or whether there's bad apples or not. Trying to split hairs about the reason why this happens is totally irrelevant. At the end of the day, they're still putting citizens at risk by bringing these people in, and that's the bottom line. It shouldn't matter like whether it's, you know, oh, it's the culture, it's this or that. It doesn't matter why. It's happening.
I wouldn't say that, yeah, we should not put everyone, which we are doing right now politically, everyone into the same cup.
I'll also give 8.5 or 9.
I also think that he brings up a good point that bringing in a bunch of people and then not allowing them to assimilate into the culture because they stay in their own subgroups is probably not healthy for having a better economy or like a better culture. Like, it's definitely a big issue. Like in America, like there's always been like there's like the metaphor in America as like the melting pot of society, where like a lot of, you know, like the old World War II movies and stuff like that, where it's like, you know, like 5 people from like very different backgrounds and cultures and maybe races get together and they're like, you know, like soldiers together. Like this is an extremely common like theme. And like this is a good thing, right? But whenever you have people that are just part of their own little group and they don't leave that group, then you have a huge problem.
Yeah, it's good. I'm doing what I like. Anything I'm doing, if I want it, I'm doing it. No one is here to stop me until and unless I'm not doing anything wrong.
What about the motherland?
It's always my love. It will be always more than 10.
Then why are you not in India? It's a 10 and this is an 8.5. I can't believe you now.
No, the thing is, like, main problem in India is population. We don't have too much of employment there. Yeah, too much of employment. We cannot earn that much money that we earn here. I have sufficient money with me, then I'll go back to India, do something on my own. I won't be living up far away from my family. Yeah, family is more important than money, I know. But I'm giving this time to myself to earn money. Then later on, I'll see what I can do.
You're gonna leave as well?
And you can't blame a guy like this, right? Because like if you were him, wouldn't you be doing this? Like I know if I were in his position, I would immediately be doing this. Absolutely, it's not even a question.
At some point, would you stay here permanently?
I plan to stay here for a long time, aber ja.
Ja, ich wähle auch die AfD und weil ich habe nichts gegen Ausländer. Gottes Willen. Aber wenn der eigene Deutsche so ausgenutzt wird, ja.
Okay.
Und das ist eben das. Ja, da muss ich ein bisschen was dran ändern jetzt hier, weil wir müssen doch an uns denken.
Weil auf jeden Fall, ich mache meine Sache, ich mache meine Aufgabe. Wir alle Deutsche hier, wir sind gleich, alle Männer sind gleich über alle. Es gibt keinen Unterschied, als du bist Deutscher
oder
nicht.
There's no differences whether you're German or not. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that there's obviously a pretty big cultural difference. It's obvious. I mean, you try to act like there's no difference. It's just, that's obviously not true.
Probleme ist hier, muss man wirklich richtig lernen. Erstmal die Sprache, damit man in dieses Land integrieren kann, weißt du, muss man das machen. Ich auch, ich habe die gleiche Idee, was hat mein Kollege gesagt jetzt. Für mich, Marokko ist mein Land. Ich lebe Marokko wirklich. Ich habe viel gelernt in Marokko. Die Nummer, ich gebe Deutschland 3.
Do you think many refugees coming here are actually just economic migrants using the term refugee to come here? And
sometimes. But yeah, for me, it's not the highest part.
Deutschland versus India.
I would love to stay here, but my motherland is India, as you also already
I see.
know. Yeah?
So you'll come here, make some money, and then go home?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, pretty much a nation which lies on its workforce. So if that's shrinking, sure, we will lose financially, and we will fall back in the internet.
And what I think will happen in Germany is that after enough of this, after the average population feels like this change, I think that the same thing is going to happen, is that they're going to keep trying to push this stuff out. How is that a refugee, though? I mean, I don't know, right? I have no idea. But this absolutely will reach a fever pitch, and then people will push them out. Absolutely.
National race.
The question is, at what cost?
Well,
how much is a dollar worth, right?
Yes, and
what will be the social consequences of mass immigration to a country? These very questions are what troubles the AfD, as the foreigners that make up 15% of Germany's population account
for... The only reason why they have trouble with the answers for the solutions to these things are because the solutions would get them put in jail. They know what the solutions are. They have plans for what the solutions are. They just can't say them.
41% of violent crime in 2023, although some believe acknowledging these statistics is a gateway to racism and xenophobia. I headed to Dresden's town square.
This is what radicalizes people, by the way. It's when you tell people that they can't acknowledge statistics and looking at patterns is racism. It's whenever you make a person live a lie. You make them see, like, it's like you cannot see what's directly in front of you. It's insulting to their intelligence, massively.
Formerly named after Adolf Hitler during World War II, to talk to protesters on both sides of this debate.
So, this is the song that the alt-right has made their mantra. Excuse me, can I interview you? Interview? Deutsch? What are your thoughts on Pegida?
Pegida, genau. Ich gehe zu Pegida.
What are your thoughts on Muslim immigrants in Germany?
Oh, no, no.
Why?
Nix, ja, so easy.
No.
Islam habe ich nichts am Hut. Das wird mir zu hot, das wird mir zu kriminell, braucht man nicht. Braucht eigentlich keiner. Wir sind christlich geprägt und so soll es bleiben.
Okay.
Wir wollen unsere Kultur behalten und nie anders.
Okay, danke. Thank you.
Bin ich dagegen. Deutschland den Deutschen.
What are your thoughts on the movement and the idea?
It's a bad idea. We
Yeah.
have to have more peace in
Okay.
the world. I don't like the wars. You have the same problem like in Holland.
Yeah.
And like France. There are too
Yeah,
many.
I saw the videos about France. That shit's crazy. That's illegal to say. Well, that's the problem, is that I think that people have like a fundamental desire to be able to share ideas and think for themselves. So whenever you have a, like, any sort of like control apparatus that prevents people from doing that, I think that given a long enough timeline, that control apparatus will be destroyed.
I believe all religions are same and there should be, brotherhood
Okay.
in all of them.
Union and peace?
Yeah.
Good, bad, neutral? What do you think?
I think it's so they are against Muslim, etc.
Against the Islamicization of Germany.
Of course, I'm against because I'm an Erasmus student. I'm an exchange student, and I come from France.
Okay.
And in France, there is also a rise of the right extremists.
The alt-right.
Yeah, the far right.
And now we are getting back to fighting each other due to religious reasons, and that's just stupid. Has quite a bit of refugees and
a lot.
Yeah, a lot, and I'm proud of refugees coming to Germany.
You think this is a form of neo-Nazism?
Not yet, but quite close.
Okay. Can I interview you? Okay.
I like your videos.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Nice guy.
You're talking about Pegida?
Exactly.
Well, the guy, I mean, and again, people say like, what a cuck. I mean, I don't really know. I can't really determine this, but the guy seemed like he was a pretty, like, he was like very well dressed, seemed like kind of like, like upper middle class. And so it would make sense that, like, the people that are losing their jobs to immigrants, maybe, or like refugees, those people are very rich. Yeah, I mean, he seemed that way, right? I mean, I don't know. They're going to be at that lower group.
Think that's,
immigration doesn't affect the rich. Yeah, basically, right?
It's good because my point of view is, especially here in Germany, that we have a big problem with migration. I mean, Germany has taken the most of these people. I think since 2015, around 3 million. That's a good question. I mean, that's maybe a historical issue because, the past of Germany was not very happy.
To exploit cheap labor for their own gain? Is it out of kindness? What do you think?
I think that it's definitely like a cultural like thing, but I don't really, I mean, I'm not really, I've never been to Germany. I have no idea. But I could easily see this being a very hard topic for Germans to approach because they don't want to be seen as Nazis.
I think so.
Does it benefit German society?
For the kindness, it's a benefit, but the negative points are bigger than the benefits that we have now today.
And this is the reason why you see a lot of younger people that have that are like more like right wing. It's because like for a lot of older people, like let's say you're 50. Well, your parents maybe at that point almost could have been, like around. Well, they probably were around in World War II, right? So like they remember it, and it's like you are directly connected to this because you remember like how close it was. But the farther away people get from it in terms of like, years away from it, I think that the less that guilt weighs on them. You see what I'm saying?
In the past months, we had a lot of kills from Syrian or Afghanistan.
It's like basically like, here's another way to look at it, is that like a lot of young people like that probably don't know anybody or have never known anybody who was alive during that time period. So that time period is completely history to them. It's not experience, it's history. But like for somebody who's like older, they might that's not history to them. That's like what their dad experienced and like what they grew up being told by their dad. And so that's a totally different thing.
From immigrants that we give shelter.
There should not be any fight between the religions. People are here for roaming.
Yeah.
That should not affect them.
The immigrants are in Germany to make Germany an Islamic state. Muslims come from all over the world and say, this is now our land.
Okay.
And it cannot be. Muslims should go away.
I see.
Now Syria says there is no more war. The people from all over should come back to Syria.
Tell me what they believe in and why they are fascists in your opinion.
They want to get rid of immigrants, of people that fled war, that fled shitty situations without any real reason besides
I feel like they have an obvious reason. I mean, it's not that they don't have a reason. Yeah, I mean, it's very obvious they have the reason. I mean, what do you mean they don't have a reason? Just to clarify things, immigrants are not taking jobs away since there's a big worker shortage because of the aging population, so most jobs are open or currently low-skilled jobs. Also, many upper-class people would benefit from having low-skilled workers fill those spots. So you think that they're not taking the jobs as much? Well, they're still taking the benefits from the country, right? So, like, if the country is paying money to house this person in a lot of cases, or maybe their family, there's a lot of money that's being invested into that. I mean, I think that there's, like, a lot of levels that a society is burdened by an individual, right? And it's not just, like, in, like, one dimension. So just let them die, don't allow them anywhere? I don't think that that's really the responsibility of another country. It's not every country's responsibility to solve the problems in all of these other countries. It's not really about whether it's their problem or not. Like, it's about what making a decision that's best for the people that live in your country. It's not our problem. Yeah, it's just that simple. I don't really know why it's like such a hard concept for people to understand.
Extremist.
I see. Many of them have told me the war is over in Syria, now it's time to go back home. Do you agree with that idea, or is that too harsh?
I mean, think about the US with the melting pot thing. And and it's the same. We should be more welcoming, and that's not the way to do it, just getting rid of them. It became a beast, and we're not really able to stop it anymore. And people think that it's okay. But just think about it, how it all went when fascist Germany rose. And I'm afraid that it will happen again.
I think that's what happens, is that a lot of people, especially in Germany, there's a tremendous amount of guilt because of like what happened in the past. And this is really kind of why. This is the main reason.
Do you think Islam is compatible with German values and German culture?
I mean, it's monotheist, so they believe in one God like we do, and it's a welcoming religion in my opinion, so I don't see anything wrong with it's comparable in my opinion.
But after hearing the public's perspective of Pegida, I met up with the controversial founder himself, Lutz Bachmann.
Tell me about your role in Pegida, who you are, backstory.
I've been basically the founder of Pegida. I'm one of two founders. We founded 10 years ago. On the day, 10 years ago, on this day, 20th of October 2014, we had our first rally here in Dresden.
Okay.
It's this kind of demonstration is going to be the last one.
What does Pegida mean? What is the reason for the movement here?
It actually all started over, as the name already tells you, Pegida means Patriotic Europeans Against Islamization of the West. We are fighting 10 years now against Islamization, which is taking over all over Europe. But in the meantime, in these 10 years, there came more themes and more themes. We are now fighting against these crazy genderism, and as well, we're fighting against, for the freedom of speech and stuff like that.
What concerns you about Islam?
You just need to look in the world. I think Islam is like mid-age ideology. You see, there's no space between government and Quran.
I see.
So Sharia law.
Separation of religion and state?
Separation. And the problem is, It's not just these maybe 10,000 crazy Islamists that are running around. What the problem is, if they behead somebody, the normal Muslim is standing and watching it because he can't do anything because his book, the Quran, tells him it's right, like behead all the unbelievers and stuff like that. So they're actually
well,
not.
Why don't they just put him in jail? Like, I mean, how does this even happen? Like, yeah, how does this even happen? I'm so confused. I mean, there's no way they're like beheading people out there, right? I mean, it's fucking insane. The government gets too scared to prosecute and does nothing? No way. No way. Like, if this is actually true, give me some videos of this on my Reddit. Because, like, again, you know, drastic claims require drastic evidence. I want to see it. No, it's not. Stabbings are on the rise, but not beheadings. I don't really think that's that much better, right? I mean, shit.
Allowed to fight themselves against the crazy ones. UK, I always say it's 10 years in front of us.
Okay.
You see what's happening there. Churches becoming mosques
crazy.
And stuff like that. And every government, they already have their people in the right positions and they obviously take over. You see it all over Europe. And this is what we were fighting from the beginning. We wanted to stop that.
Do you think Islam and Western values are compatible?
Not at all. This is what I think. There's even the head of the Muslim Council in Germany. It's called Ayman Maziek, this guy. This is basically the highest Muslim in Germany. Okay. Himself, he says there's only one Islam. There's not like the press and the media telling us there's a moderate Islam and there's one really Islamist. And even the head says no.
I think you're obviously going to have like religious extremism with every religion. But I think that if you're ever making decisions in a government based off of a religion, you're making bad decisions. It's literally that simple. Like, you should never be making decisions in the government based off of what a religious book says. It doesn't matter whether it's the Quran or the Bible or the Torah or anything. Like, I would even argue, like, if you go even farther than this, I would say that no religion is compatible with like a secular Western society. Because there are bad things, like, and I understand, like, I mean, I think that people view Christianity as like being closer culturally to like our laws, which is definitely true. It's absolutely true. But you have to keep in mind that like the Christianity that we have is like very much like filtered a number of different ways. Like there's been like the, what was it called? The Aegean Council, I think, where they like changed the Bible. They've done all kinds of things like that. So it's been watered down and it's been changed a lot. And so any sort of extremist religion is going to be bad. And it will always end up being oppressive. It will always end up like giving people a reason to do bad things. The Council of Nicaea? Yes, yeah, Nicene Council. There you go. That's the right one I was thinking of. Separation of church and state isn't a founding document in the entirety of America. Yeah, well, either way, I think it's an ideal that a lot of people subscribe to and they agree with, and I'm one of those people. I think it's absolutely a good thing. If you have, like a religious text that's making decisions for people, I don't really think that's a very good barometer for anything. It doesn't really matter like what the religious text is. It's just a bad idea.
There's only one Islam, and this is what is dangerous for Europe, and it's not at all compatible to our values. Not at all.
Okay.
So
there's a lot of people that are like practicing religious people of like every denomination that are not violent and don't cause problems. And the truth is that in a lot of other Muslim countries, they don't have beheadings a lot over there either. Like in Dubai and stuff like that, crime is extremely low over there because they do not fucking tolerate it. So I think the real problem is people committing crimes and then not getting in trouble. That's the reason why. Buddy, there are secular religions. Your point makes no sense. Well, no, it does. Like I can never see a world where you could arrive at a solution to a problem with religion that you couldn't either arrive to the same solution at through like logic and basic ethics, or through like, or it being a bad solution. Any type of religious extremism is bad. And I think that you can immediately see that. Like there's like, how many cases do we have of like super extreme, like religious cultures, like not having problems? It's pretty much universal.
A German politician has been saying in the 60s or 70s he says, you don't save Calcutta. If you bring whole Calcutta to your country, then your country becomes Calcutta.
I see. So you think their culture will replace German culture?
Exactly. They call it integration, but integration for me is a big lie. Because integration, when you see the word, means that you integrate somebody and he brings a bit of his to your culture. Sure. I prefer what we call assimilation. When they come here, they need to assimilate to our culture. Then they are welcome. I don't mind people from Syria, from Afghanistan or wherever.
I think that's totally fine. Like, if you don't want to have people from other cultures being in your country, I think that's kind of fine. I think a country has a right to decide who can and can't be part of their culture. Like, absolutely. It's basically it's a very, very large form of freedom of association. Like, you should be able to choose who you do and you do not associate with.
I don't care at all about skin colors. You can't do anything about it. You've been born white or yellow or black or whatever. But they have to assimilate to our culture, to our values, and to everything.
And what are your thoughts to some of these counter-protesters who may say you're like racist, neo-Nazi, xenophobic, those sorts of things?
I always ask them, give me one proof that I'm racist. I've even got my best man for my wedding is a Turkish guy.
This is a huge problem. And this is why I think that you see the rise of these different types of like the quote I don't want to say neo-Nazi, right? Because it's clearly that they're probably not really neo-Nazis in a lot of cases. Like, wanting to have like Germany for Germans doesn't make you a neo-Nazi. That being said, or German culture, that being said, I really don't think it's that like, it's clearly not racism to not want people that are from a different culture to come into here, especially when it's a huge amount of them. It's just simply not the correct word to use. And so whenever you use that word, I think that people get frustrated about it. You could say xenophobia, maybe. Yeah, maybe, right? But it's just simply not racist. It's just not the right word to use.
He's Muslim. I've got so many friends, black friends from everywhere.
Okay, secret question. Was the photo of you as Hitler doctored? Is that Photoshop?
Yeah, it was Photoshop.
Straight up Photoshop?
Even the press. What?
They photoshopped a picture of him as Hitler, and then they're putting it on the fucking news. Oh my God.
Maybe 2 months after, one of these journalists, he actually had to prove in court, and he lost the case. And there was the picture is real, but the beard was Photoshopped from them.
And at this current rate, what will Europe look like in 50 years, in your opinion?
God, no, I wish I had like a glass ball to look in the future. I wish, but I think things will change. There will be like the mainstream would call it a right-wing revolution. I call it the normal people will take over again.
Any conflict we should predict or what?
Just enjoy it. Just
yeah, I think this is like, the more that people try to tell average people that there aren't any problems and that the things that people can readily see are not happening, the more that people like this guy are going to get support. And I'm not really trying to say it's the same thing, but I think that you can see very big parallels with this and also with why Trump won. I think you can easily see that. It's pretty obvious, honestly. And so whenever you try to tell people and gaslight people into believing that their lived experience didn't happen, you're going to earn a tremendous amount of resentment from them. It's going to be massive. And eventually the backlash will be big enough to where they can actually make a change. And you can see apparently they won something over there. It's a lot.
Just enjoy the show.
Okay, amazing. Thanks for your time.
I'd be like, go on down the road, you fuck.
If you want to support our boots on the ground independent journalism that is not bought and paid for by corporate interests, along with exclusive DLC content that YouTube won't let me upload, and uncensored early access to all my videos before they go up on YouTube, go subscribe at patreon.com/Tyler Oliveira for less than $5 a month. Back to the protests.
Hiermit die 250. Pegida-Kundgebung in eigener Sache. Jeder achtet auf den Nachbarn, verdächtige Personen mit der Polizei oder uns in Ordnung machen. Das musste man alles lesen, nachdem Lutz das Video rausgekommen hat. Pegida löst sich auf, wir sind zerstritten. Freunde, nichts davon ist wahr, es sind Lügen aus der gleichnamigen Presse.
Lügenpresse! 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 Lügenpresse!
Jetzt hier geht's ja gleich drüben bei Pegida los. Wer heute vielleicht zum ersten Mal da ist, weiß auch noch nicht, was kommt. Es ist meistens rassistisch, eigentlich immer. Es ist ist ganz oft antisemitisch.
Where's everybody else?
Es ist gegen alle Menschen, die den Leuten da drüben nicht ins Bild passen. Es ist einfach nur zum Schämen.
Noch viel lauter sein müssen. Menschen, die hierher kommen, haben es verdient, dass wir sie integrieren und nicht, dass wir sie pauschal an die Grenzen abweisen oder ihnen nur noch Butterbrot und Seife zur Verfügung stellen.
Also, Fake News, Pegida wird es weitergeben, aber wir machen ein neues
That's a lot of people.
So, und damit die erste hier auf der Bühne, Angelika Barbe.
Herzlichen Dank und ich danke allen, die hierher gekommen sind. Wir versammeln uns hier heute, weil wir alle zum Grundgesetz stehen und weil sie das Grundgesetz aushebeln. Das akzeptiere ich nicht. Wer sich
Yeah, there will eventually be enough of these people to where they can change the policy. And this is just what's going to happen. And then once there are enough of those people to where they can change the policy, don't expect them to just stop at like, you know, what they want. They will probably keep going.
zu Pegida Bekannte wurde ausgepfiffen, wurde ausgegrenzt, dessen Existenz wurde in Frage gestellt. Denken wir nur an Sigmar Gabriel, SPD, der Pegida als Pack bezeichnet hat. Oder Özdemir, der uns als Mischpoker bezeichnet hat. Oder jetzt habe ich gerade gelesen, das wusste ich gar nicht, er hat sogar im Bayerischen Rundfunk gesagt, das sind Nazi-Schweine, denen das Demokratieverständnis fehlt.
Oh shit.
Ich danke euch wirklich sehr, dass ihr heute hier seid. Macht noch mal richtig laut. Da hinten kommt auch gerade die Zubringer-Demo. Die werden wir gleich richtig laut begrüßen. Und dann zeigen wir heute noch ein allerletztes Mal, Pegida is over, Bachmann go home.
Das haben dann die Medien weiter zerstört. Sie haben ein Bild geliefert als Spalter, als abgehängte, dumme Leute, die hier demonstrieren. Und später dann als rechte Nazis. Und wir erinnern uns an die DDR. Da hieß es auch, wer nicht für uns ist, ist gegen uns. Und wer gegen uns ist, ist gegen den Weltfrieden. Jetzt müssen wir schon für den Weltkrieg sein. Das wollen wir aber nicht.
Ich möchte ab heute, dann ihr habt alle mitbekommen vom Gericht, was Panzertöten.
There's a lot of people here. Jesus. Man. People are fed up? Yeah. Mostly old people, that should tell you something? Like what? Like what is it trying to tell you? Like the old people are bad? Like I'm kind of confused. Yeah.
Muss ich also unter Bewährung schweren, 17 Monate Haft stehen im Raum dafür, dass ich gar nichts gemacht habe, außer einen Kanal zur Verfügung gestellt, soll ich haben, wo die Wahrheit gesprochen wurde.
Aber jetzt ist erstmal Zeit für die Gegendemo da hinten. Klatscht doch mal richtig und macht mal richtig laut.
I wish they'd show how many people are in this crowd. It's hard to really tell. Seems like there's a lot.
While Lutz's extensive criminal background prior to his role as an activist has caused the mainstream media to attempt to invalidate the message and concerns of his that have resonated with tens of thousands of protesters across Germany since 2015, Lutz's ideas have now entered the mainstream political conversation as the AF.
Yeah, this is you can't. This is I. It's crazy for me to see this. Like, obviously, I'm not German, so I don't really like. I'm kind of looking at this clearly as an outsider, but from my outsider perspective, it seems like there's a lot of parallels to the stuff that's happening here and in other countries that I see.
D continues to grow in power. Today, however, is officially Pegida's final rally, and Antifa was there to counter-protest.
Alerta! Antifascista! Alerta! Alerta! Antifascista!
We're here, we got the Pegida protest, and we got the protest of the Pegida protest.
Whoa.
Both sides are pissed off, but the question is why?
Pegida! Liebe Freunde, Pegida war immer...
It's crazy how everybody can be over there and nobody's getting in fights, there's nothing wrong, there's just two people talking. Imagine that. Wow.
Und wir wären doch erstickt in diesen Jahren, hätte Pegida nicht das Fenster aufgestoßen, hätte Pegida das Fenster nicht weit aufgestoßen.
Wenn ihr es einseht, bitte, unsere Stärke, unsere Ruhe, die Kraft wieder ausstreuen. Und kein Gehacke, kein Getrommel, kein Geschreie. Danke.
dann können wir eine andere Demo machen, bitte. Aber aus Respekt unserer Arbeit gegenüber bitte ich euch drum, diesen Mist heute zu lassen. Danke.
We keep getting asked if we're left wing or right wing. People are very quick to throw us in a partisan bucket here. What are your thoughts on?
Ah, yeah, wow, that's crazy, huh? Man. Sounds a little familiar.
Pegida.
They're fascists.
Fascists?
Yeah.
Are they Nazis?
Totally, yes.
Okay. What are the main problems you have with Pegida?
Actually, you can hear it all in just their name. They're like patriotic European people against Muslims.
Okay.
So, yeah, and all their banners and flags also show their opinion, like the Reichsflagge, which was used by the Kaiserreich and by the Nazis.
What if they said like, yo, we just want the borders to be safe and less immigrants? Is that cool or no?
That's not cool. No.
Yeah.
They are coming from places where there's war or bad economy, so you can't live there. And everybody has the right to have a peaceful life.
I think it's important.
I think that mentality is just simply not a mentality that that's I think a luxury mentality that people have when they think that it's somebody, like, basically people think that because they never think that any of the negative effects of bringing in a bunch of people like that will ever actually affect them. And I think this happens all the time, is that people have a viewpoint like this. It's very idealistic. It's extremely idealistic. And I think that the idealism is what causes it. It's what makes people like this think that they have like the moral authority to say that. But I think it's not really that. That's it. People in chat calling you shit. I mean, like, no, there are people that are going to be unhappy. They're allowed to want to. No, I understand people are like, this is a very polarizing topic for a lot of people. But I think what's going to happen is that this is my prediction. I think that this like Islamic or anti-immigration or anti-refugee party is going to keep growing until they get big enough to where they can exercise political power. And I think that outcome will be bad for a lot of people. And I think the outcome could have been avoided if they had been listened to earlier and decisions had been made before it got too radical. I think that people like this, whenever people get marginalized and told that, like, you know, oh, what you believe is bad, you can't have this opinion, I think that's what's going to happen. That's my guess. Because it's common sense. Yeah, exactly. It's common sense. And also, like, a lot of the people that I feel like have these viewpoints, they are always having these viewpoints whenever they don't have any accountability of the bad outcomes of those viewpoints. So it's like, oh, yeah, I believe this. Well, it's like, have you ever had to deal with this? No, I haven't. Of course. UK here, we just need to stem the flow of immigration. Reddit mods removed my post about beheadings, by the way. Yeah, I apologize about that. There are a lot of the posts that are being made that, like, you can't post anything that'll violate the TOS. So it would have to be like a news report that's, like, censored for that reason. I feel like there's a few reasons why it's all such a problem now. I'm an immigrant myself, came from Poland to the UK. I work, I pay taxes, I adapted to the culture instead of trying to impose my own country that had a handout to me. I don't sit around expecting to be paid benefits. Yeah, but I think that it's, like, there's, like, multiple different issues to it. Yeah, uncensored beheading. Yeah, you can't put that out there. But counter-protest crying wolf or rather a Nazi are just as delusional. They don't experience the negative sides of immigration, live in rich areas, or have rich parents and have never worked in their life and are living off welfare. I think that in a lot of cases, this is, like, one thing that I think is happening a lot, is that a lot of the cultural divide is actually a proxy for a class divide. And what I mean by that is, like, if you look at, like, for example, like our election, which again, like, I can only really compare it to, like, America. But with our election, there is a massive class divide where there are, like, poorer people and, like, in the middle class and lower and working class people that experience the negative effects of what I would consider to be luxury beliefs, right? Like unfettered immigration, giving everybody money, like allowing theft up to $1,000, having these things, like not policing people in, like, a very extreme way, right? Or not extreme, but like a very stringent way. And so, like, these types of luxury beliefs are imposed on people that are part of this, like, lower group. And it's seen as something that is like a culture divide, but I actually think that it's a class divide. And I feel like if you look at a lot of the people that are probably the counter protesters in a lot of these cases, if it's anything like the way it is here, the people that are like part of the protests, like get rid of immigration and stuff, those are the ones in the lower class because they can be negatively affected by it. It can be both. Yeah, I think that, but what I'm saying is that there's a massive class component to it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Videos right-wing propaganda. YouTuber's a grifter for right-wing, never interviews people with opposite opinion. How could he not interview people with the opposite opinion if he's interviewing people with both opinions? Yeah, I don't see how that works. Yeah, I'm not understanding that. I want to mention specifically in East Germany, there are problems that haven't been touched or worked on since the wall fell, so a lot of people feel left out as second-class citizens. Yeah. And I think that, like, and this is, like, again, kind of the same issue, right, about it being a class problem, that, like, working class and lower class people oftentimes rely on the government in a way that upper class people never really have to think about. So, for example, for like having roads or having safe neighborhoods or having, you know, the ability to not have your house broken into, etc. And like, obviously, this is like these are like the big ones, but like there are a lot of like, you know, like regional ones that are like more specific to that area. And so like a lot of people that are part of like, again, this is what I'm saying before, like it's a culture war, but it's also a class war. And a lot of the people that are part of that upper class and that upper culture, they never have to experience the negative effects of those ideals. The people that are saying defund the police are living in a gated community. That's basically where I'm trying to get at.
For a society that they support basic human rights and everyone can live on this planet, but they say things about people that's not okay. If people need to go from their home place, it's never pretty. And if there's war, they should have the right to seek some place where they're safe.
Some of them have said that they're economic migrants and the war is over and they should go back. What are your
Yeah, I don't agree with any of that. I think that nobody has the right to go into any country. Like, obviously, if you have a treaty or something like that with the EU, then like you probably have to follow the treaty to a certain extent. But if a treaty is actively causing you to put your citizens second and to disenfranchise and disadvantage your own citizens, then you've signed a bad treaty and you need to get out of it. It's extremely simple.
thoughts on that?
I don't think that. When they're integrated in this society, they have worked, they've started a family here, I think they should have the right to stay in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
And what is the group you guys represent on this side of the barriers here?
We present Antifa, anti-fascists. We are against them, and we fight for human rights.
They don't? No, I don't think that Germany has any obligation to provide any sort of life or place of living to any of these people. They have no obligation to provide it at all, and that should not be their goal. The goal of the German government should be to act in the best interest of the German people. And to the extent that it's not doing that, I think the government is betraying the people. It's literally that simple. I think that with any government, by the way. Same with our government or anything else.
Human rights.
Well, they're racist, they're almost fascist, they endorse fascist parties. We already had this in Germany and we don't really want that again. It really didn't work out for us. Like, this was completely destroyed.
I see.
And we kinda don't want it here again.
So you see parallels between this and Nazi Germany?
Yeah, definitely. Like, they're, of course, anti-Semitic, extremists. It all started kinda small. But
yeah, this language won't work. I think this language and shaming is not going to work in the long term. And it will definitely stop people from doing it. But what will happen is that eventually there will be a point where those people realize that there's enough of them that they don't have to listen to it. And then they will overcorrect in a way that's bad. I think that's what's going to happen.
I sadly don't think you can call that smart mall anymore.
How many people?
As our counter says, it's 3,200 sold of.
Are you proud?
I'm happy, yeah. Okay. I'm happy with this. And I think it's going to be a good finish today. And for the new projects, it's already a good start.
What are your thoughts on Muslim immigrants that have come here to Germany?
With Muslims, my personal opinion, all is a question of quantity.
Okay.
Personally, I know I have Muslim friends, no problem.
Sure. But
it's a different culture, it's a different aspect of life, and especially with Islamization, it's in the quantity, it's becoming a real big problem. Look, I'm German. It used to be that you were German because your ancestors are German,
sure.
Right? So I was born in Belgium, and already 40 years ago, you could see the transformation of Brussels because of people from Morocco and Algeria, and you can see the transformation, and it's a different style of life.
Okay.
And so that for me was clear, and then that in Germany also it happened, especially after 2015 when Merkel didn't close the borders.
They convey national and fascistic thoughts, want to split Germany into like ethnic Germans.
I see. They want an ethno state?
Yeah, more or less. You know, they're against Islamization, so it's also about religion, but it's mostly about skin color and heritage.
Is nationalism a bad thing?
I would say yes.
Yeah. She said,
I think that I think that criticizing and being afraid of any sort of theocracy is not racist. It's not racist. It's not bad. Any type of theocracy is bad. And I don't know why people try to constantly conflate the two things. It's like very, very weird.
I had closed the border because all the Secret Service and all the police, state police and so said, yes, we can close the border. She didn't want to have the bad pictures. Soldiers and police at the border with guns pointing at immigrants.
Sure.
And
this is what I was saying. It's about optics. This is why this will never work. Is because optics will never overrule a person's material conditions. And if a person feels like their material conditions are worse because of this, they're not going to care about how it looks, how it sounds, like, oh, well, it's kind of like this other bad thing. That's not what's going to happen.
You don't come in. I would say in the USA, all over the place, New York Times, would have been there comes again the Nazis.
Why do you think that is? Why have you guys been labeled fascists, neo-Nazis, that sort of thing?
Well, the short version is, this is the most easiest way to blame someone, a group of people.
Well, the reason why is because it's an easy way to immediately invalidate what a person's saying. Like, it's basically like we have like these words that have very strong meanings, and then people use these words as like basically, Avada Kedavra and fucking in Harry Potter, right? It's the killing spell. It's like, okay, racist or, anti-Semitic or Nazi, right? It's like, we're going to say this to you. And like now this is like such a huge, it's the curse. Yeah, exactly. It's like this curse. And then you can't actually, like, basically it completely shifts the conversation. And so it's not about like what that person was saying. It's about proving that they are not the accusation. And I think that what's going to happen is that with the accusation like this being put forward so often, every single time that it happens to somebody and it's not like a very clear-cut case, it diminishes the strength of that accusation. And I think that's what happens the most, is that like things like racist, like I see this a lot in the US, right? Is like there are people that are genuine Nazis, but whenever I see people that get accused of being Nazis, and they are, they're not even, like, nobody even takes it seriously. Nobody even cares because they're so used to seeing the word and seeing the language that they don't even take people talking about it seriously at all, because most of the time whenever they hear the word, it's not actually true. So it's overused. Yeah, exactly. It's racist or something like that, etc. And so that's the reason why they call them this thing, is that it's easier to call somebody a racist and then have them being afraid of like the negative social consequences of being a racist or being known as a racist, it's much easier to do that than to address what their actual problem is and address the context of like what they're actually saying. Boy Who Cried Wolf? Yeah, exactly. There's diminishing returns on hate speech. Well, it's also diminishing returns on saying other things are hate speech.
Political party.
Okay.
It's you're Nazi, you're out.
Sure. Do you think that German people are trying to compensate for their ancestors and being a Nazi and that sort of thing?
That is the core issue.
We should think of ourselves not just as Germans. We should think as Europeans.
Okay,
or as
global
well.
citizens.
Yeah, especially with like modern problems like climate change. We should think bigger than just national states.
Doses makes the poison. It's a question of quantity. As it's done right now, it doesn't work. If it's coming more and more...
This guy brings up a very good point, that immigration at a mass scale causes problems that immigration at a smaller scale does not cause, because the people have a higher chance of being assimilated and being part of the culture. This is absolutely true.
Majoritarian, you would have conflicts.
Immigration itself is a good thing. Okay. I would say, you know, it gives a lot of opportunities to Germany, for example, a lot of different viewpoints, you know, of people, and this is a good thing, and Germans need that.
Are they integrating the immigrants and refugees that are coming here well right now?
I'm not sure that any country needs viewpoints that aren't their own. If there's a country that's happy with the way that they exist and they want to continue existing that way, then I think they should be able to do that. Like, there's a lot of countries, I got in trouble for this. There's a lot of countries out there that I really don't agree with the way that they exist. I don't at all. But if I go there, I don't take my shoes off in my own house whenever I walk inside my house. But if somebody asks me to take my shoes off when I'm in their house, I do it without question. It's such a simple concept.
Not very well, I would say.
As unmitigated mass migration, open borders, intrinsic religious differences, cultural differences, and the formation of a global monoculture seems to be at odds with cultures and national identities across Europe formed by distinct groups of people with shared histories spanning sometimes thousands of years. We must eventually wonder why humanity formed borders in the first place and what the cost of destroying them may be. What do you think?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious why people have borders. I mean, it's common fucking sense. But I have to say, like, some of his thumbnails are fucking insane. I want to link you guys, like, all the Nazis, the KKK guy. Oh, boy. Let me go ahead. I'll link you guys the video here, and you guys can take a look at it. I love Tyler Olivier's videos, by the way. Like, I actually think that he's great because he goes around the world, and he, like, just interviews people, and he lets people basically just explain their point of view. I really like it a lot. Yeah, I think this is what's going to happen. And like, you see kind of how I think that, like, government policy actually creates racism and division. They aren't against refugees themselves. They're against the changing of the culture, calling them fascist and racist and insane. Yeah, if you read, like, all the comments, and I'm pretty sure every single person, you know, is pretty much all supporting, like, the anti-immigration stuff. Absolutely.